Hey, this is Steve with a review of the 16-minute Avatar preview today for myothercareer.wordpress.com. I spent all day Monday, well not all day, but from 3 o'clock Eastern Time until about 6:05, 6:10 Eastern Time trying to get tickets to the Avatar preview, and I'm glad I did. It seems silly at the time for putting all that effort into getting into a screening for 16 minutes of footage, but I watched something tonight I've never seen before. The only way I can compare it to something is if anybody went to the movies back in the early 90s to see Jurassic Park. The first time I saw those dinosaurs on screen, I think I was about 13 or 14, maybe 15. I was like, wow. It was really a moment for me to take movies and fiction and the power of film to a new level from an effects standpoint. I never thought the storyline for Jurassic Park was all that great, but seeing those dinosaurs was amazing, and that's kind of how I feel after watching the preview footage. I've never seen anything like this before. The teaser trailer that came out on Thursday does not do this footage justice at all. And I even only saw it on an IMAX light screen at the theater by my house. The colors, the presentation, the creatures, the world, everything about it was just fantastic. I mean, the art direction and the creature creation and everything about this was just phenomenal. I'm not going to go into the story too much because, frankly, I don't know a whole lot. The footage starts with James Cameron. Interestingly enough, in 3D in front of just a 2D background, so he kind of is just sitting in midair. And he gives you a brief premise that says it's the 22nd century and we found this world inhabited by 10-foot tall alien humanoid-like creatures, and we would like to habitat or to colonize it, so to speak. And that's it. That's really the only narrative I know. There was a couple different types of footage. There was the opening scenes that we saw dealt with, I guess, Space Marines or some sort of group that's recruited on some sort of ship. I don't have anything more than that, really. And we meet the main character, and that's it. The footage was people, and it was a real set, and it was real. The 3D right from the get-go took me a little bit to get used to. I don't have a lot of experience viewing 3D movies, especially wearing the glasses, but after my eyes kind of got used to it, the more I watched, the easier it was, and the more enjoyment I got out of the footage. The footage we saw moved into the alien world real quick. You see the main character get into his avatar, which is the blue creatures, and then from there, that's it. One of the neat things is that the avatars look like the people playing them. So, for example, Sigourney Weaver is in the film, and her avatar looks like her, very much so. As far as the Na'vi, I think they're pronounced, which are the blue creatures, they're very human-looking as far as how their builds are. They're lanky, so kind of imagine a cat-like creature, very lengthy, very streamlined, very athletic, not curvy, very much like built like Olympic sprinters, or even more like distance runners, maybe cyclists, swimmers, very, very long, thin but muscular, sturdy frames. And the faces had some feline characteristics, and there were a lot of little things about how they were designed that I really enjoyed. When they were scared or emotion, their ears would tuck back like a dog or something, and little things like that I noticed. But I don't want to ruin it a whole lot else. The character designs were really great. The creature designs on the alien world. I mean, outside of seeing, how can I explain this and do it justice? It was fake, but it didn't seem fake, if that makes any sense. It seemed very real, although I knew it wasn't real. And maybe that was because of the 3D. They did not shoot the 3D footage in a lot of the gimmicky ways some 3D movies do, where they're like, ooh, oh, they're getting in your face, and there wasn't any of that. It was just as if you were viewing it like you would. There's an aerial scene that involves kind of some dragon creature, and it wasn't gimmicky. They weren't flying at the cameras and doing all this crazy stuff. It was like, imagine the Top Gun fight scenes or flight sequences in 3D, and that's what it felt like. Things just had depth and a level that felt just real. And I don't know if it's industry changing, because I don't know if the story's going to be good. Visually, it's just amazing. It takes visual effects in a direction that I don't think anybody has yet. I don't know if it's to a level, because they are doing kind of a photorealism, but at the same point, CGI, Pixar has done stuff that's probably just as good. It just doesn't go for photorealism the same way they have. But just from its presentation, I mean, I've never seen photorealistic type of effects like this ever in my entire life. Hopefully the narrative does it justice, but they're going to have to put together a trailer that gives people a lot more sense of what this movie is going to be about, because that teaser does not deliver anything. And I really hope it doesn't fall into the stereotype that the humans are the bad guys, the human kind of becomes part of the good guys and fights back against the human. I don't want it to go that way. I don't know if it's going to go that way, because really I can't piece together a whole lot of the narrative. And that's probably by design. But it was 16 minutes that let me know I need to go back and see this in IMAX in 3D. It is not a movie that I have any interest seeing in a regular 2D method. Just sitting there, and there's a forest sequence where you're viewing it, and there's leaves kind of falling, and there's just stuff, and it's floating in the air the way you would expect it to in real life. And it just was very surreal to see, because it felt like you were there. It felt like I was there, and I've never felt that way with a movie before. I've seen several IMAX movies, and this I've never seen anything like this. So take that for what you will. Hopefully a lot of you out there got to see it. Our movie theater was about half full. I don't know if that was by design for the amount of tickets they released, or if there were a lot of no-shows. I did go to the 6 o'clock. The line for the 7 o'clock showing when I was leaving looked a lot busier than the line I was in, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But our theater is supposedly sold out. There were no tickets left. Security was pretty lax. They said they had people watching to see if you were recording, but I didn't see anybody. And frankly, it doesn't matter if they're recording, because if you didn't have the goggles on, you couldn't see shit anyways. It was all polarized and blurry, so I really don't think they have to worry about anybody shooting footage, because you're not going to be able to make it out. So, again, review for Avatar. It was some cool stuff, and I'm definitely interested in seeing the feature. But more importantly, I really want to know a little more about the story, because right now they didn't give me anything to think it was a unique type of story, or anything we haven't seen told by somebody else before. So, until next time, this is Steve. Check out my screenwriting blog at myothercareer.wordpress.com. Until then, keep writing.